Hello and welcome. Today we've got Maria Benardis, and we are going to actually discuss the teachings of Christ and also the missing information of Christ's life. Now, just before we begin, you can subscribe to my Telegram channel and to nicholasveniamin.com for my free email updates. And I will leave Maria's links below so you can follow her too. And if you're watching this for the first time on YouTube, I will leave the link below in the description for the full interview, unless, of course, me and Maria agree to choose our words wisely. So, due to the censorship that's going on YouTube, it's absolutely insane. But I'm sure with that we can keep this and work around the words and be more descriptive. Maria, thank you so much for joining me. How are you? And and then we can go on to where do we begin?
Yeah. Well, so Nicholas, first of all, I'm fantastic. I'm feeling great. These are biblical times, and everybody has a mission, and there's lots of revelations coming to different people that are really rising up and being teachers of this time. So great times ahead with Nasara Jasara. I'm super excited.
Absolutely. It's amazing. So many new things are happening. It's unprecedented times. The things that Mr. T has done is really unprecedented. And, we're going to see the climax of the results very soon. And we're all excited. But, the MSN is keeping everything under, undercover. So let's go into the teachings of Christ. What do you think? What is the message that you would like to give to the listeners and the viewers today about Christ's story and the hidden information or the hidden stories that we haven't been exposed to that you think it's vital for us to know?
Yeah. So this is very simplistic what I'm about to say, but basically he gave his commandments on the Spirit and provided we follow those and realize that he didn't agree with churches. So he was very clear. Churches are not buildings. The church basically is within us. He made that very clear, and a quote will come up later on that I will say. And he also made it very clear that agape is the way to him. So not love, unconditional love, which is the Greek word, is the way to him. Compassion and agape in action. So we can't just merely read words and then not act. So, he spoke about us helping the homeless. He spoke about us in the commandments, about helping animals if we see them suffering and so on. And provided we practice the things that he has in Pistis Sophia, which is his writings after he ascended, okay, so things we need to renounce. Number one, this world. And we forgive, so very important forgiveness, then our soul, and we reach Q consciousness, okay, this is something that I will discuss, that he discusses, Q consciousness. So provided we work towards getting to that through agape, then we will not be put back into another vehicle like this to keep living the same story and learning the same lessons. We will ascend to the various levels, depending on where our soul has progressed. And our mission will be a new mission along with our galactic brothers and sisters and ascended gods like Zeus and Aphrodite. And, basically to be of service to humanity. That's what we're here for. And even when we ascend, Nicholas, it's about us being of service to one another and creating. That's what we're here to do.
Absolutely. There are many things that have been taught to us in a twisted way, in a fear-based manner, for control. So what would you say, what would you say has been twisted in the Bible that you would like to put right?
Oh, my goodness me. Nicholas, where do I start? Where do I stop? First of all, there was gospels that were suppressed, and we'll go into them in a little bit detail later on, such as the Gospel of Judas, which he was very vocal against the churches and what they were doing, and that we didn't need them. So those words are very important. Mary Magdalene, who was the disciple of disciples, she was the top one. So they have suppressed women, and Jesus Christ, Christos, which is the right way to say it, and it's coded, which is the Greek and Coptic, also spoke extensively about females. And he very important, he said we should call God Father, Mother, Creator. We should never use the word God. We should use the or source, okay? Because he's neither feminine, no masculine. He's both, okay? And we need one another. And I can give you a few quotes on that. Secondly, the commandments, his 12 commandments on spirit plus one, were thrown out the window and not preached. And one of them is that we should not eat meat or flesh if we want to ascend, which has shocked me. There's words on Holy Communion and how that is, I'm sorry to have to say this, essentially satanic. This shocked me, even because I'm Greek Orthodox, as you know, Nicholas. So a lot of this has shocked me, and he has said what he meant by flesh and blood. So that's been twisted. And also what's been twisted, and I have it in front of me, is the Lord's Prayer. So this is the first sentence of the Lord's Prayer, just so you can see how much it's been changed. Our Father, Mother, who art above and within, where's the within gone? Hallowed be thy name in twofold Trinity, male, female, in wisdom, love, and equity, thy kingdom come to all. So, people can find, this in the Gospel of the Holy 12. So I will be quoting some Gospels, Nicholas. I want people to know that I cannot quote all the letters or the Gospels or the scrolls. But if people start with some of the Gospels that I'm mentioning, then they can go on their merry way. And the last thing I wanted to mention is when he was feeding the thousands, Nicholas, remember there was always fish mentioned and bread, and he multiplied? Well, that is not correct. He never ever said fish. He said grapes in one situation, and the other one, the fish was melons.
Right. Now, before we move forward, I've got a few questions on all those points, okay? First of all, could you explain to the viewers, why is it that we are not allowed to say God? Because God, it has no gender, right?
He doesn't have a gender, but religion has assigned a gender and has assigned what they mean by it. So, for example, when you're looking, and I'm sorry, this is going to offend some people with religion, and I do apologize. All I want to say is all credit for me finding this is, Jesus Christ, the creator. So I'm speaking, and they can research and find all this. The reason why I say that is because when you look at the Catholics, they are worshiping the sun and they're calling it God. Okay, they are worshiping, transgenderism. Okay, they don't want the female in there. They just want, the masculine and, the other craziness, and they're calling it God. So there are connotations where God is being used by religion to really refer to the God of Satan. Okay, and now I understand why when I read all the other Gospels and scrolls that have been suppressed, and trust me, I am only 25% of the way through. The creator only knows what else I discover. So this is why I understand that prior to the Bible and, thousands of years ago, of course, they were very clear. They were referring Father, Mother. Even Jesus Christ was referred to as Jesu Maria. So Jesu, G-E-S-U, which is, the Jewish way of calling Jesus Christ, dash Maria, to assign masculine and feminine.
Right. So, so how did you get this information that Jesus mentioned grapes as opposed to fish?
Fantastic. In the Holy Gospel of 12, okay, there is a gospel that was written by the disciples together, which also has the commandments. So once I read that, it led me, I went and read every single gospel and scroll of every single disciple, okay? Not just the male, there were 7 female disciples as well. So I took it to the top and read Mary Magdalene. Why did I read Mary Magdalene? Because in Jesus Christ's words, he said, Mary, you are she whose heart is more directed to the kingdom of heaven than all your brothers. So in other words, she was the top than all the others. So, and there's some shocking revelations that Mary Magdalene covers in her gospel that I can understand why religion would not want us to know about, because we would not need them and we would realize our divine power within.
Right. So can you name me a few of those gospels that have been completely suppressed that people can have a look into?
Yes, Gospel of Q, which we'll discuss, very important because it relates to the Q movement. The Gospel of the Holy 12, the Gospel of Jesus Christ, the infancy of Jesus Christ, his childhood, which I have some beautiful things to say. Pistis Sophia, which is the teachings after he ascended that gave the secrets to ascending and what we need to do. Oh my goodness me, where do I start? Where do I stop? Mary Magdalene, also all the other disciples that are not in the Bible. For example, Gospel of Philip. Okay, so if people start with the Nag Hammadi scrolls and books, which is a publication that I've showed in the last video, that will then lead them to others. So I have to say, now I've probably read over 50 Gospels and scrolls.
Right.
So each one refers to others. And of course, Book of Enoch, Keys of Enoch. So what people can start with, Nicholas, this idea just came from above, is if they go through the Bible, the King James Version, they will see Gospels in there that are being mentioned. Highlight them and find them. That's how I started.
Right.
And then those are the ones referred to other ones. Does this make sense?
Yes. But they're not actually in the Bible, but there's referenced in some of the Gospels that you can go outside of the Bible to look for, which have been hidden, probably kept in the Vatican.
Exactly. And this is how this came about. Because, as most people know, my background is taxation law, as yours is law. And I was always taught, never take anything at face value, research it. And this is how this began, because many years ago, when I went to church, because, my family was very much with the Greek Orthodox, church every Sunday. My mother was a scripture teacher. There are priests and archbishops in my mother's side of the family. But things were amiss. They weren't making sense to me when I read the Bible and what I was listening to. And so that's how my quest started on all of this.
Right. So, you said in the 10 Commandments there were 12, not 10. Okay.
Yeah.
And
no, there was those 10 plus 12 and then plus 1. So we have 23 altogether, Nicholas. 23.
Do you have them in front of you?
Yes, I do, because this is probably the most important thing, that if we have the Gospel of Q and these commandments, really, that's all we really need. We don't need all that other stuff in the Bible.
Is it possible to read the 23 commandments in order, if that's possible?
Oh, yes, absolutely, because I have them. And even better, because I don't want to do Jesus Christ any injustice, I am going to read them in his words. How's that sound? And absolutely. I have them in front of me. I've also done videos on these things that people can go to my channel. Okay. All right. Okay. So, sorry. Okay, here we are. Okay, because my book is flip-flopping. Okay, here we are. All right. Okay. So, Moses gave the 10 commandments of Israel after the flesh. So they were focused on the flesh. Okay. I give unto you 12 for the kingdom of Israel in relation to the spirit. Okay. Now, people need to realize that Israel is not a place on a map. Israel is all of us. Okay. Mm-hmm. So he's giving these to all of us. So, number 1, you shall not take away the life of any creature for your pleasure, nor for your profit, nor yet torment it. Okay, this was shocking to me. I've been eating meat all my life. I have to say it's shocking. You shall not steal the goods of any, nor gather lands and riches to yourselves beyond your need or use. So no excessive properties, money, all of this, okay? You shall not eat the flesh, nor drink the blood of any slaughtered creature, nor yet anything which bringeth disorder to your health or senses. You shall not make impure marriages where love and health are not, nor yet corrupt yourselves or any creature made pure by the holy. You shall not bear false witness against any, nor willfully deceive any by a lie to hurt them. You shall not do unto others as you would not that others should do unto you. So this is the ancient Greek golden rule coming in. You shall worship one eternal, the Father, Mother in heaven, of whom all things, and reverence the holy name. You shall revere your fathers and your mothers on earth, whose care is for you, and all the teachers of righteousness. You shall cherish and protect the weak, those who are oppressed, and all creatures that suffer wrong. You shall work with your hands the things that are good and seemly. So shall you eat the fruits of the earth and live long in the land. You shall purify yourselves daily and rest the seventh day from labor, keeping holy the Sabbaths and the festival of your God. You shall do unto others as you would that others should do unto you. So the reverse of what we said before. And of course, when the disciples heard all this, they were very disappointed and upset. And then later on in the Holy Gospel of the 11th, he then adds another one, Nicholas, and then he says, this is my commandment, that you love one another as I have loved you. Greater love hath no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friend. Ye are my friends, if you do whatsoever I command you. So there were 12, and then he added one more later on, as he was spending lots of time with his disciples, which is the agape for everything. So I don't know about you, Nicholas, but I'm a woman. I guess I broke down crying. I was so devastated. And this is actually, those commandments come through in other gospels. Okay, so I don't want people to think, oh, Maria found them in one and they're not anywhere else. I found them in others being repeated. Okay, for example, when he travels around, sort of Asia and Egypt and India and so on, he starts preaching a lot of that about not eating flesh, not worshiping the sun was very important because someone greater created that, namely Mother, Father, Creator. So therefore worship him, not the sun. So I don't know about you, Nicholas, but this is to keep us dumped down so we don't ascend.
Well, we know that we've been lied to by the cabal about everything, and we have to, in order for us to, see the truth, we have to detach our emotions and have a distance with our emotions from everything, so we can look at the truth, for what it is. It would be foolish to believe that the Bible is perfect and nobody has touched it, and it's been like the way it is now for thousands of years, and everything else is corrupt, and the cabal are trying to censor us on social media, let alone the truth that was written 2000 years ago, where they allow on the App Store and the Apple and Google Play and things like that. So we have to, absolutely, it wouldn't make sense for it not to be touched. So what you're saying, I'm very open-minded, and I'm sure the viewers are very open-minded to look further and do the research. I mean, it would be very weird if the Cabal never touched the Bible at all.
Yes,
Please.
but another thing that validates all of this, Nicholas, in 2012, the Creator and Jesus Christ had me on a journey to write a book about the ancient Greek wisdoms to healing and longevity and health. Okay, I wrote that book. Penguin didn't want to publish it. It was too controversial. I self-published, released it. When I read the scrolls of Jesus Christ on health and how we can heal, and that really, in his words, because I don't want to corrupt them, he said, your Satan is a part of you. And then he went through because of what we eat and so on. I found the chapters of his scrolls were corresponding to my book. For example, he wrote what to eat and in what season. And I was like, oh my goodness me, there was equal parallels on everything that was said about the ancient Greeks, including the know thyself, in Jesus Christ's teachings, and even the same words. And I was like, oh my goodness me, there's further validation, Nicholas. The ancient Greeks, all those philosophers that we know today, like Socrates, Sophocles, Archistratus, Pythagoras, all of them, do you know that they did not eat meat or flesh and said the same reasons that Jesus Christ said, that it clouds your connection to God, it won't let you ascend, and you won't get downloads? So people can go and study, all the references I have, even in my book, and they will find they're the same. So we can't say that the ancient Greeks were loony beans as well, Nicholas, and didn't know what they were talking about.
Well, Jason Q actually said if you're eating meat of an animal that has been tortured, you're eating and, the energy, and it suppresses our energies. Everything is energy.
Exactly.
So
and why they torture the animal, deliberately before it gets on our plate. So do you see what's happened? Is Jesus Christ said, water, air, and sun heals us. So what have they done to our sun? They've messed with it. What have they done to our water? They've added fluoride. What have they done to the air? Chemtrails. What have they done to our food, our fruit, vegetables? In particularly corn. He kept mentioning corn in a lot of his talks, okay? What have they done to corn? It's one of the most genetically modified ingredients. Do you see that they've taken all of his commandments that were meant to be taught to us, and do you see that they've damaged and manipulated each one against us?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So let's talk about the Q gospel. And why is it significant, and why do you think the Cabal have hidden it?
Yes, absolutely. First of all, so people can understand what the Q gospel is, it is the first version of the Bible, okay? So this is what they had, Nicholas, to live their life, okay, in the past, before the meetings happened, with Constantine and all of them, to come up with what we call the King James Version, Old and New Testament. So what I want to say with this that's really important, Q means source, okay? Mm-hmm. Q also happens to be the number 17, okay? What I'm going to do here is I'm going to relate it back to the Q movement and what the Q movement is all about. So 17 equals Q.
Just before you go into it, I just want to remind you to be a bit careful with your words because of the censorship, unfortunately, but thank you.
No, Nicholas, thank you so much. You're absolutely right. So which equals Christ consciousness, which equals that letter consciousness, okay? This is what's going to activate, and I'll explain what that consciousness is in a minute. That is what activates the consciousness, okay, activates the QFS system, the quantum internet, the quantum medbeds, okay? We need to have this type of consciousness to get the maximum benefit. Now, 17 also is a very significant number. In the Jewish calendar, it was called 17 Nisan, okay? Mm-hmm. That means the 17th day of the 7th month. What happened on those days and why the letter and 17 is so important? That was when the Red Seas were parted. That's when Christ resurrected. So do you see how these significant events are going up to, we will call it the movement. It's the Jesus Christ movement, the letter and the 17. Now, how do we get to 17 as well? There is validation both in, as I said, this. There is validation when you read the other Gospels, and of course, when you look at the Jewish calendar. Now, what it means is a quantum leap of consciousness. That's what they're trying to get us to do, okay? We need to realign and evolve. And if we look at this is the map of consciousness, okay? David R. Hawkins, 17. And the top one is enlightenment, okay? Now, on the side here, you'll see my notes. How is this consciousness measured? Scalar energy, okay? All the devices that are coming, QFS, quantum, are measured by our scalar energy. So we will see on the quantum internet what level we're at. The ultimate level is the enlightenment. Now, on the side here, there's this beautiful couple, holistic.com with a W, that measure scalar energy. They have amazing free videos. They measure the scalar energy of Christ, Mary Magdalene, the disciples according to the New Testament, and Judas. So on the 17, where are you? Okay, and these are going to be very revealing. The disciples, this is according to the New Testament, okay, there were other disciples, were resonating from 400 and below. Judas, and this is, I have questions about Judas and whether everything is correct, was between the 600. So he was above, vibrating. So agape, beautiful, beauty. And it comes out on his gospel. Guess who was up the top? Jesus Christ and Mary Magdalene.
Right. I was going to say Mary Magdalene.
Excellent.
And it's funny that you say Judas, because they made him, you know, in the stories that we were given was that Judas was he betrayed Jesus. You know, that's the official story. So who knows if it's really the other way around? Exactly what the mainstream media does, exactly what the cabal does. Remember, this is ancient stories, and I'm telling the viewers when I say remember, you know. So please.
Yeah, and read the Gospel of Judas. What did Judas do? He lashed out and condemned the churches, and he outlined everything that they were doing, and he was saying to them, there's no need for you. So why would they want to put that gospel in there? It doesn't fit. And not only that, also in the Holy 12 Gospels, God said, this is what Jesus Christ said about his Father. God had not in view temples erected by the hands of man, but he meant that the human heart was the temple of God. Purify the heart from all blemishes, for it is the true temple of God. Okay? Could you imagine those words, Nicholas, going into the KJV version of the Bible? Oh, my goodness me.
It's very different to what we were taught. So, if obviously there's going to be viewers out there that really want to do the research and they really want to see it for themselves, where do you advise them to look, and how do you advise them to do this academic research?
Well, I've just mentioned a lot of Gospels, Gospel of Q, Gospel of the Holy 12, go through the Bible, which is what I did. Old Testament as well, not just the New. The Old Testament has those Gospels that we need to read. Also the Nag Hammadi, the book that I showed that has, oh my goodness me, I think it's got about 100 Gospels and letters. So please go, and scrolls. In particular, the Gospel of Philip, okay, because he was a very, he speaks about the relationship between Mary Magdalene and Jesus Christ. He speaks about ascension and what we need to do to ascend. So he also has a lot of revelations. Now, Nicholas, why did that gospel end up in the Bible? I asked the question because it has controversy. So any Bible that I read that has something controversial that goes against the religion, and one of the things that God did say is, do not lay down any rules beyond what I ordained. Okay, we just outlined what they were for you. No, nor promulgate law like the lawgiver, or else it will dominate you. So he was clear. I don't want all these laws and whatever else. Otherwise, you'll be controlled. What is Mr. T, President T, trying to do? Get rid of all this rules, regulation. So I'm seeing that Mr. T is following and doing these things to get us into the 17 Christ consciousness. He's removing rules and regulations. He's trying to get us to go within, which is what Jesus Christ. So I'm seeing that all his movements and executive orders and so on, Nicholas, are trying to get us to this. Back to the gospel of Q, back to the gospel of the Holy 12, the simple things that Jesus Christ wanted us to do.
Absolutely. So what do you think about the book of Revelations? Do you think it ever existed, or do you think it did exist and then it was infiltrated by the cabal for control? What does it really tell us in the book of Revelations?
Yes, I do believe that it is true. I do feel that some of it maybe has changed. And I'll tell you why I do believe that it is real. Because when you read the teachings of Pistis Sophia, oh, by the way, here's the other one that I was referring to. Sorry. Okay, that's a good one. Okay, look how many gospels. So when people start reading Pistis Sophia, okay, which is the teachings again, this is not for the faint-hearted, okay? These are big books, okay? So I'm saying to people, I've read about 50 of those in Gospels, paper everywhere. He actually does repeat a lot of that in there. The sounding of the trumpets and the whole, ascension thing. But he also makes it very clear that Christ is within us. Okay, yes. Gospel of Mary Magdalene. And so therefore the whole resurrection thing and whatever is not him coming back. He's made it clear in black and white in Mary Magdalene's gospel. It is more us acknowledging, realizing our divinity and attaining our light body. So a lot of that revelation stuff is explained in Pistis Sophia. And it is explained in great detail. And they are the teachings when Jesus Christ ascended. He came back to teach his disciples, which included, of course, as I said, 7 women, the secrets of the soul, what we need to do. He also discusses reptilians and that he's aware of them and that we need to destroy them and that they live within us because, of course, Satan is a part of us, which is the reptilian nature. So things in there, Nicholas, I could do a whole show on that one on its own. Blow your mind.
I just want to say, so the viewers don't get confused when you say that Satan is within us, because I hate that saying that, but you're saying that because of what the cabal has infiltrated in our food, in our drinking water, fluoride, in our oxygen, and in the sun, the lights that we're given, and they're giving us to us in our bodies.
That's one, but there's a deeper one. What he's really saying is really those characteristics which are not of God and pure. Ego. So when we're seeing people with huge ego, that's a part of Satan in them, the ego that they need to get rid of and purify. That's why he said you need to purify yourselves every day, because every day the ego, which is the left brain, the male brain again, okay, he's saying get out of the left, cast your net to the right. That's why he kept saying, cast your net, go to the feminine side, the creative side, and get the ego to come down a few levels, okay? So a part of Satan is the ego, it's the evil, it's all those, low vibrational things, basically that we're on that 1 to 17 Hawkins scale of consciousness, okay? Fear, all of that is really the part of us that we need to heal. The Satan/ego is probably the best way to explain it.
It's ironic, isn't it, that the left brain is also, the radical left liberals, and Trump is the right, the Republicans, know?
Nothing is a coincidence. And this is why in our head, this is the biggest battle, which is causing all our illness, all our health issues. And this is why why they got rid of the female completely. Okay, because they didn't want us to go into the feminine side of the brain, the creative side, to merge together for us to wake up. Not only that, electromagnetism. What does that mean? Electricity is the male, magnetism is the female. So we need electromagnetism for free energy and to ignite our Q consciousness. But what did they give us, Nicholas? Electricity. Left, male. I mean, I could be here all day with examples, but just for
the reason why I mentioned the revelations and I asked your question is because when it speaks about the end times, I think it's important for us to acknowledge that it's not the end times for us. It's the end times for the cabal, for Satan. It's his end time because heaven will be made, earth as it is in heaven will become, So what do you think about that?
Absolutely. And then, of course, the 1,000 years of peace. Absolutely. And the Gospel of Mary Magdalene makes it very clear that our soul never dies and we reincarnate into another vehicle. Also, Pistis Sophia discusses that and goes into it. But as to which new vehicle, meaning body, Makaba, like body, whatever you want to call it, depends on the progression of our soul. Okay, so if people want to dwell into that in quite detail, Pistis Sophia, there's over 800 pages there, I might add on this, which goes through that and deals with, the reptilians and all of that they exist and how we can defeat them. Okay, and it starts with us doing our inner work, because as we raise our vibrational frequency, what happens, Nicholas? These beings cannot survive.
Now, you say about these beings cannot survive because they are bad, but just like they are bad, there are also good beings, because when we ascend and we leave this world and we incarnate again or to another planet, it should also be another planet that God created again, or source, if you like, that created. So there's always and everything's energy, positive and negative. Everything's energy and frequency, and we have the free will to decide what we want, and nobody can interfere with us, in the cosmic galactic, sense, let alone here on Earth where they try to take everything away from us. It's our galactic right.
God bless you. Your words to God's ears, as us Greeks say. Absolutely, you're spot on. And if people want to know what those other worlds are, those other galactic planets on each of the 12 aeones, as we say in Greek, there's a lot of Greek words in there. Pistis Sophia will reveal all of that and how you get there. And you're right, free will. Okay, and the most important thing that needs to come out is to get there. We need to conquer that. We need to denounce everything of this world. So denounce the excessive money, denounce evil, denounce our ego, denounce keeping up with the Jones. So there's some of the examples of what he meant of this world.
Excellent. Maria, thank you so much for your time. It's been absolutely amazing. I learned something and I can't actually wait to show my dad because he's into all of this. Yes. So thank you. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with us today?
My God, so much. I think we could do another episode on his childhood and travels. I have all this information about what he did. Oh, my goodness me. But all I want to say, the message in closing is people need to realize they are divine beings that can attain the consciousness of Mary Magdalene and Jesus Christ. He made that very clear. All we need to do is block out the religions and denounce everything of this world. He made it very clear. Go within. He's there. We don't need to go searching for Christ. He's not coming back. He made it very clear because he's within us. He's always been here. And we're all going to ascend together. Where we go one, we go all. And just, God bless everybody.
No, thank you so much. I would like to propose that maybe we do a video on Jesus's life that we wasn't told. I think it was from 11 or 12 to 30. So in between that bracket, if we could find what he was really up to and his life. So that would be fantastic if that's possible and okay with you.
I've got it all. I've got it from 0.
Okay, excellent. Well, Maria, thank you so much. And I'll speak to you very soon. God bless you.
Thank you. God bless you. Thank you.